Hey folks, welcome to episode 125 of the podcast. Hopefully it's sounding good. I'm in the new studio, things are getting set up, that's all great. It's been a while since I did a bit of an intro and I am going to keep it really short. This week's episode is a big one. It's with a big personality. His name is Sir Steve Timothy, aka Farmer Michael, and he has amassed a huge following over the last few years with his parodies pretending to be a farmer called Michael, and he's from Galway. You're going to really enjoy the conversation, and it's very much stripped back and look under the covers of who Steve Timothy really is. Lots of new stuff coming in the next few weeks, a few solo shows, so I'll hold my long intros and long rambles for those. One on productivity, one on lessons in leadership that I've learned from the 130 plus podcasts I've recorded so far, and more. If you're interested in a Slack group, which is a community we're kind of building where like-minded folks get together, challenge each other monthly and hold each other accountable, go to the front page of the website and you can scroll down there and find the link to join. We're doing a September challenge and try to do those monthly. If you're a new listener, if you're somebody that hasn't listened to the podcast before, because you're probably a follower of Stevo, great to have you along. There's 124 other episodes in the archive on the website, so check those out. I always ask for folks to subscribe because that helps with the ranking in iTunes, which I have my own views on, but no doubt when it's high up there, legitimately, it helps other folks find out about 1% better. And that's what this is all about, letting others learn, hopefully sharing good stories, lessons, and stuff that can resonate with others to make them better. Go to the website, subscribe, rate, review on all of those podcast apps. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you're enjoying, what you're not. And hopefully we'll keep you on this journey for a long time more to come. Enjoy this week's episode with Sir Steve Timothy. Take care, folks, and enjoy.
Welcome to another edition of the 1% Better podcast with your host, Rob O'Donoghue.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of 1% Better. And over the 2.5 plus years that I've been doing this, I think I've interviewed a couple of comedians. One from Canada, and the other one escapes me right now. But when I was trying to pull together kind of an introduction for today's guest, a number of different words came up, and one is a comedian, another one would be a rapper, another is author or soon to be author, innovator, a creator of Farmer Michael and Kathleen, and I guess there's probably others, but I probably will give it over to my guest tonight, Stevo Timothy, to maybe add a few titles to that long list.
I'd go with professional tomfool. That's my self-designated category for myself, I think. Professional tomfool.
Professional tomfool. Well, that's probably one that...
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Is a tomfoolery an Irish term, or is it something that is known globally? Do you know?
I'm not too sure. Pig acting, tomfoolery, peacockery.
Would satirist be a good word to use?
Well, I do satire as well, but I suppose most of the videos would be parody. Some of them involve satire, but the character would be a parody.
Okay, very good.
Although I did write satire as well for a few publications. That was my previous incarnation. So
that's one of the other incarnations that you've had, and I'm looking forward to talking to you about your own journey, your own life story. A lot of crazy things probably have happened over the last few years that I definitely want to hear from your side, from your perspective on. But I do want to start with a very kind of, I suppose, personal, important question. You're an Everton supporter. How did that happen?
I am. Everyone thinks that I got Sinead onto Everton, and it's actually been the other way around. She got me onto them. So, like, her dad was born in Liverpool. Her father, I think it was Stanley Park or something that's near Goodwill, basically. So that's where the connection comes from. And I always kind of had an affinity for them, and I always kind of, I don't know, it was one of them teams that was kind of seen as the underdog team. And I kind of, because I'm just one of those people that I wasn't huge into Premier League because I was very much Republican-y minded, so I didn't get kind of like, I didn't give too much credence to English football. I'd be like watching the Irish teams and see how they're going in Europe. And unfortunately, after Dundalk got kicked out last night, that's the end of Irish European participation. But I suppose I wasn't going to jump. I'm not a bandwagon jumper, and I wasn't going to, like, when I was growing up, I wasn't going to support Man United or Liverpool or, one of the big clubs. So I suppose it was just Everton. And then when Sinead kind of got me into them, you kind of, it takes you a while to get into it, but then you find yourself checking up the score, and then, and you gradually get into it then in a bigger kind of way, like, so.
Mm. And even now,
that's the tale.
Yeah, like when I'm watching you online and obviously doing the tour, you were over in Liverpool recently, you've really managed to ingrain yourself in the Everton culture, or some of the players. I think I saw you with Howard Kendall's wife. How has that evolved?
Oh, it's insane. Like, it's just, we've heard from the players and we've heard from kit managers and everything that they were watching the videos, like, like Wayne Rooney, the whole lot of them, like, were being slagged by the rest of the squad for the videos, from what I'd say in the videos. So, like, when I hear things like that, it's like, oh my God, you know what I mean? And as you said, then, getting tickets to matches and meeting Lily Kendall, and she gave us her number and said, ring me the next time you're over and I'll get you up in the director's box. And we were like, Jesus Christ, it's insane. Like, but I suppose in a way then kind of we are kind of raising the status of Everton in Ireland, at the same time. And like, we've had a lot of messages from people like that. They're, from mums and dads and things, that their kids, they were going to get a Man United jersey or a Liverpool jersey, but because of our videos, they're going to get an Everton jersey. So that's kind of cool as well on its own, and it kind of, you have to smile at it, So I suppose it really kicked off when we done the Wayne Rooney video. Excuse me, well, as I call him, Willie Rooney. So we done the video about him leaving, retiring from international football, and I made the mistake of thinking he was Irish because of his name and his heritage and stuff, and that was trending in England basically. And then all of a sudden, like, our Twitter followers just started exploding and getting messages from left, right, centre. And then they were like, you have to come over and do a show. And we sold 5 nights in St. George's Hall, which is just insane. Like, it holds 550 people or something.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh my God. Like, we just walked out on stage. We hadn't even done anything and we got a standing ovation. And Sinead started crying, and it was like, oh, so this is what it feels like to be accepted by people. Because in Ireland, someone would probably call you a faggot or something. Sorry for the language, but they do regularly.
Yeah.
So it was nice to be in a place where, like, even like when we went to our first match at Goodison, people were coming over shaking your hand. I don't like your videos, I don't really like your comedy, but fair play to you for what you're doing. Like, you would never get that in Ireland. If they don't like you, they will vocally attack you. And they don't even know me to begin with. If they don't like the character, they will vocally attack the person behind it. Which I feel, I don't know, is it a compliment to the strength of the character that they actually think it's me? But, like, you wouldn't attack an actor for his role in a movie.
No, of course not. What I guess, what does that kind of tell you about? Is it that the character is making? Is it? I don't know. In some way, they're connecting with it in a way that they maybe don't want to, and it's making them uncomfortable. Or what do you think the psychology
I'm not sure.
behind it is?
I think a lot of it is the fact that you're putting yourself out there. And, the old any fool can do that kind of thing. Well, then do it kind of thing. They detest you for your bravery, for putting yourself out there. And then when they see, like, that this person that suffers from depression and anxiety and can't even walk is doing better than them, that it fills them with hate, vitriolic hate. They just can't cope with it. So the best thing to do is react out angrily.
And
that's the best way I can describe it. Like,
yeah, and you're obviously getting real time and regular experiences with that. Like even before we came on, I think just 10 minutes ago, I saw you tweeting, and I've been following you obviously for the last while and noticing a lot of trolls that are giving you personal attacks on Twitter and online, which I guess, you know, happens a lot to people that are getting a bit of celebrity and whatnot. How do you deal with it? How do you, I suppose, keep a positive outlook when all of that comes your way?
Well, I usually ignore it, like, but there was one recently where they started setting up fake accounts and attacking my brother that has a learning disability and calling him a vegetable and threatening to come to our show in Cork to, like, basically batter me. So that went above and beyond it, so I had to attack back. There was just no way around that. Like, you know, you can't ignore things like that because you're actually getting threatened. Like,
sure.
But, like, I knew in my heart and soul they'd never come to Cork. And he put up a big status about how he's feeling bullied now and that he had a hard life, and that me publicising what he said about me is bringing them all back those bad memories again. And I'm like, well, why did you do it then? You know what I mean? It's like, you can't blame me now for bullying you. You know what I mean? So it was a case of, like, poor me, I got caught, give me pity. And no, if you attack my brother who has a learning disability, I will go through you. Like, I'll make it my life's intent to make you fucking suffer, you know, because that's not on. Whatever about attacking me or whatever about the videos or the content or whatever, but that was just uncalled for. And that was the first time that ever happened. And I knew it was going to happen because I knew the first time I ever put up a picture with my brother Jamie, I was very nervous about it.
Sure.
Because I thought, you know, someone's going to say a stupid comment or whatever. And I knew they'd come back to haunt me eventually, because I suppose in what you do, they will always use something against you. You know, it's just the way people are. But that's life, I guess. Like, I'm trying, and Sinead now, I'm trying to just make a laugh of them, really. You know what I mean? So that's that was the one I put up on Twitter there a while ago that you probably saw. So I'm just going to try and just, like, you know, make a laugh of it and make a joke about it, and see can I cope with that without getting aggressively angry, which I usually do. But you know, I don't know. They're led away with it too much, and I feel it's kind of, you know, if you wouldn't say it to someone in the street, don't say it online. Of
course. Well, obviously the whole keyboard warriors are out in force a lot of the time, and it's an easy target, I suppose, in lots of ways. When we chatted a few months back, how we connected, I think, was around the time you were talking about potentially doing your own podcast, which I hope you will do at some point as well. I want to hear more about you in that respect. And I remember talking to you about posting online, and I think you mentioned it already, having, you know, suffering from depression and anxiety, and how by even posting that you would instantly lose hundreds of followers as a result, because people think maybe that, oh, you're just posting this for attention. Is that the kind of reaction you got, and, you know, how you've kind of pushed through that anyway? Oh yeah, I've lost loads. When you talk about it, people would say, oh, he's only doing it for likes. And then you're like, no, you don't understand how social media works. I'm losing likes every time I post something like this. Because people just kind of, I don't know if it's you're holding a mirror up to them and they don't like it, because they just want escapement through the videos, escapism. So maybe it's just hitting a sore spot, or maybe people are there, oh, he's fucking moaning again, you know, kind of thing like that, or, you know, man up to fuck kind of thing, that kind of stuff. But, like, you know, you're going to deal with that, and I'm going to be vocal about it, because the overwhelming support I get in messages from people who are going through their own thing, and I've become a kind of quasi therapist over the last year or so. But, like, I don't mind, you know. But I'm going to be vocal about it, because it's me. I can't be nothing I'm not. You know what I mean? So obviously there's just realistic statuses, and then there's jokey me statuses too. You know, so and obviously. Yeah, I've seen you posting pictures of you know, taking antidepressant tablets and things like that. Like, you're not going to be taking those for the crack, I would imagine. And no, or for likes. Yeah, I just got my doctor to prescribe me them just so I could get more likes. If only life worked like that. But it is part of the destigmatization, I suppose, of life, that people have struggles, and making it kind of acceptable to talk about it is essential.
Yeah,
really.
I think a lot more people are speaking about it now, but a lot of the people too that are speaking about it, it's okay to not be okay and things, and they might have went through it themselves, and even the ones that do, they're not. I find it condescending almost.
Yeah.
Like I'll say, look, I tried to fucking kill myself. Life can be shit. Life can be a fucking bollock. Sorry for all the cursing now. But I think that reaches more people because you're being raw and you're being vocal, as opposed to like, hey guys, here's some numbers. We all get down now and again. And you know what I mean? And it's coming from people that may not be genuine. So I just like to be...
Yeah, I hear you. And what strikes me when I see certain posts and on whatever platform or hear certain people, like, there's the authenticity that you sometimes can connect with the person to say, yeah, I believe it, I buy into what they're saying, and other times you feel that this doesn't feel right, as in it doesn't seem to add up. Now, I could be way off the mark there, but
no, you're right, deadly, right on, like dead on the mark. It's almost like they've been asked to do it by, a charity or a mental health organisation, more so than they're doing it for the sake of their followers or their fans, if you get me. That kind of thing. Not saying they're bandwagon jumping or anything, but I see a lot of it. I just like to be visceral and be raw and authentic. Like if I'm feeling down, or if I pass an anniversary, like, I had my breakdown a year ago yesterday, or 2 days ago, and I put that status up, and that, obviously that got me thinking about that. So I go to my page and I just start writing, and whatever comes out, comes out. I'm not thinking about what if this is taken up the wrong way, or should I edit this now, or it comes out of me, and that's it, post. Yeah. And leave it, and then I start getting messages and tweets and stuff, and and that's just the way it is, and
yeah. Have you, like, I would do a good bit of writing, and obviously the podcast for me is an outlet to disconnect from the ups and downs of life as well, and share stories, and it's a great outlet. I see in you, obviously, your rapping originally, and the sketches and the comedy. I would imagine that's your way of expressing yourself and getting out of the funk maybe sometimes you're in. Would that be fair to say?
Oh, absolutely. That's my therapy more than anything, like, because I done the first video in my car with my brother, like about 4 years ago now. And I had them on my phone for a month or two. I didn't even do anything with them. Like, I just thought it'd be funny to kind of record myself, like, it was Farmer Martin at the beginning in the first video. And I just thought it'd be really cool, because I always used to do a kind of a boggery accent, and I used to do kind of raps for the lads, just messing around. And I thought it'd be cool just to record it for the crack. And then I said, what the hell? I had Galway Daily News at the time. That was my kind of satirical website and stuff.
Right.
So I said, I'll throw it up on this, and we'll see what happens. And that's the beginning of it. Kind of went viral and stuff, and I was like, oh my God, people are actually liking these. I think at the beginning they thought it was real.
You definitely could think it's real, when you see it the first few times or the first series of them, but then you start, I guess, getting getting it, I suppose. Sorry for interrupting you there.
Oh, you're grand. Like, and then at that time it was only very stereotypical West of Ireland farmer kind of stuff, and like, I don't know if you've watched many of the videos, but like the accent has changed drastically. Like it went through kind of 4 phases really. So, and then I suppose we stuck to just non-topical things, just very traditional Irish things, and then people started messaging the page and writing comments. I wonder what Michael would think of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So then we started doing topical things and more staying up with current things, and that kind of exploded it even more than, I suppose, So, and the football as well, obviously, in Everton and things like that.
Sure. Interested in just the process you go through to create one. Like, is it, how often are they just one takes, and how much kind of planning goes into it? And obviously comedy, from what I've learned about comedy over the last few years and talking to people and that do it, the amount of hours and effort that goes into an hour show or a 10-minute set even is relentless.
Like for the live shows, yeah, there's a lot of work involved, like, because Like even the last day in Cork, I think we've done about an hour and 15 minutes, and that was the longest we've done, I think, ever. We usually stick to about 50.
Right.
Because we have a support act as well and an opener, so you try not to go kind of too long, like. But for the sketches themselves, very little kind of. I'll check like RTE in the morning or Sky News, see what happens. Was there anything big happening, or was there a match that we need to do something about? And then, like we call them our envelope sketches. We have envelopes in the car, and we just take out one and I'll write down maybe 3 points, and then we try and hit them along the way. Okay. And sometimes it won't work, and I'll be like, no, I'm not feeling that at all. And then I'll say to Sinead, right, forget about that. Just turn on the phone, and I just go off on one. So, and if that works out, that works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's that kind of way. So there's very little planning, I suppose. The ones we do on mental health or anxiety, or if we're doing one on a very touchy subject, like the one I done on Down syndrome or parking in disabled bays, or obviously we think a bit more about that because you're trying to get the satire in without offending. And you're also trying to bend it around to make it funny too at the same time.
Mm.
So obviously there's a lot more work involved in them ones because you know, double entendre and stuff, and you know, you have to craft it in a very specialised way and light-hearted but non-hurtful way.
And essentially with those ones that are borderline, you know, can be taken lots of different ways, could be insulting, you know, an awful lot of people. Do you just know when one is okay that you'll get away with it, or like obviously it'll be you and Sinead, I suppose, initially kind of feeling that out? Do you have any other in a close-knit circle to say, what's your take on this? Do you kind of test it out, or does it typically just go up and hope for the best? And sometimes
no, we'd just film it and throw it up that evening or there and then. And so it'll be like Sinead, I'll drive out to Sinead and I'll just go like or I'll be with her or whatever, and I'll go, I've had an idea, let's do one on abortion. And she's like, oh, for fuck's sake, not again. And I'm like, hear me out, just hear me out for a minute. And she'd be like, yeah, I get you, let's do it. Like I was saying, the one there with disabled parking, we were asked by the Disability Federation of Ireland to highlight the abuse of disabled parking spots. So I kind of, like, Michael's an old-fashioned Irish farmer, you know, he's a horrible human being, but he's likeable at the same time because he's so wrong about his wrongness, if you get me. So I was doing a thing, obviously, we were pretending to park, and Kathleen was like, you can't park here, it's a disabled spot. I'm like, oh, sure, I don't care about that. I'll put on my hazard lights. That's the international symbol for I'll park where I want. And I even done the inverted quote marks with my fingers. And then I said, like, sure, disabled people shouldn't be allowed out anyway, Kathleen. I don't want to have to look at them because they make me uncomfortable. If you're going to take disabled people out, cover them with a tarpaulin so I don't have to look at them. Now, that to me was like a throwback to the dark old days in Ireland where people were like that. You shouldn't be bringing disabled people or people with Down syndrome out into public because people didn't want them. Hide them away with shame. And that's the way it generally was. But I got really attacked for that one. Like, people were sending me messages saying I'm the dad of a kid with MS, and I'd break your face and all this. And it was I had to turn off my phone for about 2 days. And like, then people started kind of getting it and apologizing and stuff. And then it was like, well, maybe if you just thought about that before threatening me, it'd be okay. And then people are saying, but he's disabled himself, so it's okay. And then I was like, but that, no. Just because I am, it doesn't, like, I'm still fighting it. I'm still, even if I wasn't disabled, it would still be okay because I'm fighting your battle. I'm making it known. I'm raising a plight. But obviously, a lot of people just take it wrong. And when emotions come into it with kids and things, I understand that. And then they just bang, they go into a fury. But the Disability Federation of Ireland, they sent me a big framed thing of all the nicest comments, which was really, really cool and really nice. So I appreciated that. So
that's cool. To the point of, your disability, I think when I again started following you, I didn't realise that you were for a good while. And then when I saw that you were, and I saw some of the posts, did my research, I obviously learned about your accident. But I think you've even posted, people see that and think that you're joking initially, and the reaction to that is kind of probably a bit probably strange, really, I'd imagine, is it?
Oh yeah, I'd still get if I was to put up a picture of me in my wheelchair tonight on my page, I'd still get the odd comment mocking his catching or that's not funny.
Yeah.
Because people think I'm pulling the piss. And even at shows to this day, even people that would follow us all the time would go like, what happened to the old leg? Or the crutch is part of the character. And I was like, no, it's like I've talked about this millions of times. Like, do people still not get it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird though. I'm still taken aback sometimes when people don't realise it, like, or when I come in a wheelchair and they're like, Jesus, what happened to you? I'm like, what? It's kind of like, I just end up telling them I fell off the bed trying on my sister's knickers. So then they kind of laugh and they leave me alone. So yeah, you have to be just light-hearted about it, I suppose. So.
Yeah. And I think when the accident, not to go into too much detail, I know there's a lot written about it, but I guess when you were in a motorcycle accident about, how many years ago? 13, 14 years ago? 14
now, yeah.
And after that, watching your clips around when you started to rap, that was really a massive outlet for you at the time to kind of come through a lot of the dark times afterwards. Maybe talk a little bit about that, if that's okay.
Well, I suppose, like, the rap only happened, I only started to, like, I was always massively into rap before it was cool. But I only started, like, I've always written raps, but I've never recorded anything. I've never, like, put myself out there, never rapped in public or anything. And I suppose when I had that breakdown, like I was saying, about a year ago, and I was kind of agoraphobic for about 2 or 3 weeks. I couldn't leave the house because just everything instigated a panic attack. Like, just people walking by outside and stuff, or young fellas bouncing a ball too loud would be enough to terrify me. So I was just sitting in the room and I just, like, have to do a song about how I feel and depression and suicidal thoughts and tendencies and things. So I just ended up, like, I have recording equipment there, and I just said, damn it, I'm just going to write a song, and that'll kind of keep me going, like. And it was even hard to record it because I couldn't breathe. Obviously I could breathe, but to me I couldn't breathe properly while I was recording it, so it was hard enough to even vocalize it. But I got through it anyway, and I put it out, and it ended up going to number 1 in the iTunes chart in Ireland, which was just insane. Like, it bypassed Lady Gaga for I think about 13 minutes, and then it was number 2 for about 2 weeks, which is brilliant. But even to beat Lady Gaga in the iTunes charts in Ireland, like, for whatever brief period of time, like, from a guy down in a hole recording at home in his little studio in his room, I can't leave his house, and it was kind of one of my proudest moments, I suppose, with no financial backing or nothing, so I was very proud of that, so it was one of my little, and, like, it's not exactly a nice song or anything, it's very raw, and it was that way, and it would be that way because of the way I was feeling while recording it, so I wanted it to be dreary and, as I call it, the most depressing rap song ever written, I'd say,
But yeah, of course, you weren't writing it, I would imagine, to become number 2 in the charts or number 1 in the charts. It was just that, again, going back to the process of getting stuff out and feeling better as a result. That seems to be a pattern. Yeah,
I wanted to raise a plight, basically, and so I thought it'd be the best way to go about doing it, I suppose. And I suppose reaching people that felt like me as opposed to reaching people that don't care about that kind of thing. I wanted to speak to people in that hole and feeling that way. And, like, the amount of messages I got from people going, like, that they've never heard a song that described everything they're going through. And it was them people that it was written for, and it was them and me as well. But, like, their reinforcement and their relating to it so precisely and uniquely it gave me great feedback, and it gave me great energy off them. So they were healing me while I was speaking to them in that kind of way.
Oh, definitely. Sounds you're helping. It's a win-win, I suppose, from that perspective.
Yeah.
Interested to think of doing the sketches in the car with Sinead, and doing those for a while and building up that massive following, and then moving out of the car onto a stage in front of, you know, hundreds of people, how different that was. And, you know, I get, probably not as bad as I used to be, but I still get anxious and nervous knowing if I have to do a presentation at work or talk in front of a group, and trying to cope with that and deal with it for me, right? So if you're suffering from anxiety and depression in parts of your life as well, how do you cope with that kind of build up to those shows when you know there's going to be a lot of people there? You're very in front of people. They're hanging on your words. Just interested to see what your approaches are to cope with that. How you manage to be.
I suppose I don't. I don't to this day. I don't really cope with it. Some shows I'll show up for, and I can actually get out of the car and go in and have a cup of tea before a show, but that's very rare.
Right.
Usually I'll be in the car freaking out for an hour or so, and then wait till I'm called and just get in and get it done. Because once I'm up on stage for 3, 4, 5 seconds, it's gone. And like, no matter how many times I'm trying to positively reinforce myself that look, nothing happened. You were up. You know, this happens every time, Steve. You get panicky, you can't breathe, blah, blah, blah. You feel like running away. You know, you get shaky, your legs go into spasms, you start trying to make yourself vomit, you know, and yet after every show you're fine and you can sit there for photos and you're having a laugh. But no matter how many times I tell myself that, it still comes back before the next show. So I suppose I don't really cope with it. I'm trying to learn coping mechanisms and things, but coping mechanisms are more safety behaviours which strengthen anxiety. Your safety behaviours are bad with anxiety because you're reinforcing to your brain that there is something to be worried about, and that if I didn't do this, X and Z might happen. So like, what you're meant to do is not do them. So not holding my nostril open, not sitting a certain way in the car, or, you know, but then you have to cope with day-to-day life at the same time, you know. So like, I could go up into Air Square now and get out of the car and have Sinead drive away and just leave me there, which would be probably my utmost terrifying idea. And I know that would help me, but it would also scare the shit out of me, and I'd be terrified and probably have a panic attack and probably ring an ambulance. So you have to, and that would scare me then for ages, and I'd be very panicky after that. So you have to counter, you know, you have to live at the same time as trying to counter it.
And do you get more, does the level of anxiety or in anticipation of a show be the same for each one? Or if you know you have a sellout show versus one where it might be sold out, does that have any impact on you or bearing on your mood going into it?
No, not really. It'll always be the kind of same. If I'm not familiar with the venue, that can be more panic inducing, or if it's a tricky venue to get into, that can have a big bearing on it, because I know I can't bring my chair, or there'll be 2 or 3 rounds of stairs, or it's very far away from where I'll have the car parked, because the car is kind of my safety zone, my safe zone. So if I'm way away from that can have a bearing on it. So if there's a disabled parking spot right outside and the stage is just, you know, a couple of yards inside the door, or the back door, or the side door, then I'm good. And that's a bit easier. Like, but if I have to park way away and go down on the crutches, or it's not wheelchair accessible, and go up 2 flights of stairs, and that can add to it.
Sure.
But it's about escape. Like, that it'll take me longer to escape and longer to get to the car if I do have a panic attack, which I'll inevitably will, because I'm worried about that. So it's, you know, I was going to say preempting, not prophesying as you're basically bringing it on, you know.
Yeah. Because, you know, the kind of visualization technique that you might use to imagine, right, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to have a great show and feel great all the way through. Those sort of practices can supposedly help people in some instances, but I don't know if that's something you've been trying. It doesn't work out sometimes.
I have. I'm one of them people that I've tried everything at this stage, I think. And like I've done CBT. Like I think the only thing I've never tried, which I studied when I was in college, was like flooding. Basically, what I was describing a while ago.
Yeah.
Just going out there and facing your damn fear, you know.
Constantly.
So, yeah. Throw myself in the deep end and I know it'd work. Like I know it would work. That's the thing, you know. If I didn't have the option or the choice to suffer from panic disorder, which is a strange way of thinking about it, but you know, if I was arrested tomorrow and thrown in prison, my panic would probably soon flutter away, you know.
Yeah.
Or if I had an accident tomorrow and I was amnesiac, I know for a fact that the day after I wouldn't be a panic disorder sufferer. You know, because you'd have a totally different outlook and you wouldn't remember the panic and you wouldn't remember the fear of that panic attack and fearing it happening again and then obviously making it happen because you're fearing it.
No, you're dead right. I've actually a few times wrote about certain things. I'm a type 1 diabetic, so when I'm obviously insulin dependent, and from the perspective of I don't really have a choice but to maybe exercise every day or inject every day or I'm going to effectively die. So I suppose that the choices, I want to live or I want to die, but you know, the choices I'm taking. So when you take the choice out or take the option out, things are a bit more straightforward because you just don't have that, will I go on to stage or will I just run for the hills? So I totally can connect from a different perspective, but it's the same sort of mindset challenge, I guess. Yeah, like did you ever think about doing a 30-night stretch in a row of a venue that it would just kind of to that point like flooded constantly out?
Oh, definitely. Or just like I was saying, get Sinead to just drop me up in the middle of town and drive away and leave me there.
Yeah.
You know, I'd have to deal with it. But see, the thing is that, you know, that could backfire and I could have a big panic attack and basically have to ring an ambulance, and the scares and the trauma of that experience could set me off in a complete another direction too. So you have to be very careful. It has to be controlled flooding. You know, it has to be, you'd want a therapist with you or someone with you, you know, you kind of that thing. Like.
Yeah. But I think from what I'm hearing from you though, there's a huge level of awareness of the triggers in a way. So you're not going to Air Square and being left there, or if you have done it already, you know, not to do it again, sort of thing. So there's some management and controls in place to prevent yourself from going into those places. And
like I wouldn't have situational panic. Like, I could be watching TV here at 11 o'clock at night and have a panic attack, or I could be about to perform in front of 500 people. So like, I wish it was situational, or I wish it was social, because then I'd know where to go to stop it. But I can panic anywhere. You know, I could be on my own in the most relaxed place on earth, or I could be in the car with all the lads shouting and roaring and going to a gig to perform to a load of people. So obviously some things are more panic inducing or generalized anxiety inducing. But like I said in my status the last day, like when I had the bad spell, like I went to my doctor and said, like, can I please have the panicky Steve back? I wanted the normal panicky and anxious Steve back, as opposed to the extreme panicky Steve. Like, you know, I said to, like, my psychologist as well, I'd like to get back to where I was before, even though I was a nervous wreck. So that showed how much it had progressed, that I wanted to get back to, because I was coping and I could deal with it.
I can understand to a certain extent exactly what you're talking about there. I did want to talk a little bit about, and not to kind of deviate from that topic, but I suppose it goes back into the shows, and it's kind of like an Irish and UK tour that's ongoing at the moment. I know you have a lot more gigs coming up, and was gutted I couldn't make the Cork one at the weekend, but it's great that we're chatting now.
You were probably better off. It was a good show, but we won't go into too much detail about the venue.
I saw you tweeting afterwards. What was there?
Oh God! I think the title of the show must have confused them, Farmer and Michael Show, because there was one mic and one chair.
Oh God!
So yeah,
right. Because
I said the better.
Yeah, because even the venue, when I saw where you were, it was like, I wasn't aware that was a place that would kind of do shows like that, so I didn't know if
yeah. Well, see, we done a double show with them last year, and it went really, really well, and it was A1, so we said we'd go back again.
Right.
So obviously, we won't be back there again anyway, that's for sure. Cork Opera House again the next time. So.
Very good. Well, let me know next time, because I can bring a second mic along if you're stuck for one anyway.
Yeah.
I have a few spare here.
We're going to buy about 10 of them ourselves now and throw them in the boot for future learning.
Yeah, always have a backup. That's a key learning I've had.
Yeah, that's the thing that really annoyed me though. Even if they thought it was just a one-man show, you'd always have a backup anyway.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Something like, even a kind of one of those wireless lapel mic type things should be lingering around somewhere.
Something, yeah.
Anyway, you can leave your comment card afterwards there and let them know about that. Just on the material in the show then, because it's so different to being in the car, how does that, I suppose, what do you focus on during the hour-long show, and how does it change? Does it change from venue to venue because of the audience might be different? Because, if you're in Cork, you might be talking about Langers, and, if you're in Liverpool, you're Scousers. And
but we'd always have a 5 to 10 minute intro of where we are, and a bit about them places, and a bit about Michael's misconceptions about the locale and things like that. And obviously, it's kind of like me and Sinead on stage. Sinead has like a book. It's kind of almost like a fake interview, asking my opinion on certain topics, and then I'll go off messing with the crowd or whatever. And it's like in the car. She's trying to keep me in line, and I'm going off on a tangent now and again, and then I'll interrupt her and sing one of the songs or something, or a song here and there. And so it's all kind of that kind of stuff. Like it's manic but measured. It's the best way to describe it, I suppose.
And I would imagine there's interaction with the crowd.
Oh yeah, like a lot of people don't like hecklers. I adore them. I adore heckling, because I don't like people talking during it though, or shouting up when I'm about to crack the joke.
Right.
That kills me inside. So you're always aware of, okay, I know that's the land's one there now, and the two lads there with pint glasses, they're I can hear them. They're talking again. Wait till the die say it. Do I delay? You know what I mean? Will I fill it up in another 5 seconds of talking just so they won't interrupt the punchline? So you always have to kind of be thinking about them things at the same time, and then, Sinead is waiting to go on to the next base and is reading off me. So there's always them kind of little elements, but heckling is good, but just not talking or shouting up when I'm about to crack the joke. That can kill it.
Interesting. And is there, outside of Liverpool, where you've really kind of connected very well there, is there other venues that have gone down really well that stand out over the last couple of years?
Most of the places we've done in England, like Cotter's Theatre in Glasgow, like we've sold that out again already. Wow. We sold it out the last time, so we're back there again. And London as well, we're doing the Irish Centre in London, which is kind of the iconic Irish Centre in the UK, I suppose. And
sure,
they'll be sold out. Not being cocky, but they will be, because they're selling well. So we're not there till November. So, and we done 2 shows in London as well last year, and they were sold out. It was in a different venue though, but they were cracking shows. And it's just nice over there now, because we've kind of reached the stage where it's not just Irish people or people of Irish origin. It's locals as well, so we've you get native English people saying, native Scots and native, as opposed to just Irish people coming, or second generation Irish.
And you find that they get the joke, like they get who Farmer Michael is. Do you think that's
oh god, yeah. I think
it's universal.
Farmer Michael is, he's universal, because everyone around the world has an uncle or a granddad that's like that. It's just a generational thing, isn't it? And that's, as you said, pretty much universal. We'll always have an elder familial relative that will be still stuck behind the time of modernity and the changing zeitgeist. That's just an experience the world has.
Yeah, well, definitely. In our age, I suppose, I'm 41, and I think you're mid-late 30s anyway, I think, from what we talked about before. Yeah. So that next generation up from us, in 20 years' time, they're probably going to be not around, a lot of them. So I wonder what will be replaced, if that'll die out, I suppose.
Yeah, because I just remember, older relatives of friends going back, when you were 9 or 10, in like the early 90s or 1990 or whatever. And my God, they were demented, like, you know? But that was their generation. Like that was the way they viewed the world, and it was kind of scary looking back at it now, you know. But that was the reality of it. And I suppose Michael, it's going to an amalgamation of all those people I've wandered into during my life, you know. So
yeah, I would say an awful lot of that.
Keeping their memory alive.
Yeah, and I totally get it, and I've thought about this. You know, even my grandparents might have been similar, and a lot of it probably is just the fact that the world was such a bigger place in those days, and you know, when they see somebody from Africa or from China for the first time ever walking down the street, and they're just like, good Lord, what's happened there? And it's this kind of...
they wouldn't know. Like it wasn't an ignorant ignorance. It was just
an innocent ignorance, really, wasn't it?
They were just astonished, I suppose. You know, it was just the exotic. Like I suppose you could consider a rarely uncontacted tribe seeing a white man with a big beard. You know, it'd be a similar thing. They were so like exotic and strange to people, like
threatening, probably.
Threatening too, like the other, obviously, the kind of the out there, to be frightened because I can't understand. Yeah,
exactly. Discomfort that comes with it. No, very, very true. I'm interested as well to talk about your now book writing expedition that you and Sinead are on, and it's around Everton as well, isn't it?
Naturally, it would have to be your first book, wouldn't it?
You're definitely gunning for a season ticket over there anyway, that's for sure.
They'll probably ban us from the club, lifetime ban after they read this. No, but it's obviously a light-hearted, Michael infused book about Michael's understanding of Everton and his fake created glory in his head and his misunderstandings of everything about what football or soccer sports, as he calls it, is. So it's going to be, and then like Sinead obviously has Kathleen's corrections after every chapter just to kind of set the reader straight. But there's a good bit of it written already now, and I kind of sniggle back reading certain little paragraphs in it and things. So I'm kind of proud enough of it, how the direction it's going so far. So I actually can't wait to get it out there and can't wait to have it released basically and do the launches and just get it out there.
That'll be very cool. It'll be exciting to get that out, and the reaction I'm sure will be very funny and positive. And like, are you tying in, like, are Everton FC aware of this coming? Are they hooked into it?
Yeah, we've been talking to them about it, obviously with trademark issues and things like that. So we've the all clear and we're ready to go basically, and we're hoping to launch it in Ireland in the Mercantile in Dublin, well-known Everton supporters club haunt. Then hopefully in the Dixie Dean Hotel in Liverpool, which would be unbelievable because that's obviously the Evertonian quarter hotel. And then we'll probably do a launch in Galway as well, in the town hall before our show in March next year. So there are a few little launches here and there, and obviously we'll be selling them at the shows as well, and you can order them online and the whole lot. So just dying to get it finished and I want to have it in my hands, you know, that kind of way. Like I'm dying to hold a physical copy, like so.
Very interesting stuff. Like, when I take a step back, and I'm conscious of time, we'll probably try to wrap up around an hour or so, but like what you've created and the different angles that you're coming at, multi kind of talented in lots of ways there, would you consider yourself a businessman now, like an entrepreneur in a way?
Jesus, I don't know. People have called me that, but I'd say more of a chancer.
Self-deprecating anyway, but like you are.
Well, that's what I am. That's what I do. My whole thing is kind of pulling the piss out of myself, I suppose. I'm never. Pride will never be my downfall anyway. That's for sure. Like, if anything, I find it hard to be proud of certain things and find it hard to be proud of what I do. But now and again I do. But I suppose it's a character flaw, or maybe a powerful character trait, I don't know. But I suppose like we like to do things ourselves. A lot of what we do, we've always done it ourselves. There's never been a middleman. We've never had this person do this for us or things like that. Mainly because I'm a bit of a workaholic and a bit of a control freak, so I wouldn't trust people to have that done. You know, I'd be on to Sinead, like, did you answer that email? And she'd go, no. And I'd be like, for fuck's sake, why didn't you answer that? You know, it's kind of like, so I'd nearly take on everything myself just to not have someone not reply late or reply late, you know. So, but like, obviously we're kind of hoping to step it back a bit next year. So we've MPI Artists, they're an Irish-based agency, and they're going to organise our tour for 2020. So that takes a lot of stress off us, I suppose. Like,
sure, oh, absolutely. Because my only comparison here is, like, I'm doing this podcast. I have a day job, and the thing I enjoy most is this part where I'm talking to you or a guest, and it's the part that's the most important part of the whole thing. It's the content. But I could easily spend 3 times the amount on just editing and posting online and trying to build up a following, and all of that stuff is stuff that I've learned an awful lot about, and it's great to know, but it's not the part that is the real juice, like, you know. Oh yeah, well, like our social media now, it takes, I'd say, a good 3 hours a day just to be updating the social media and just to be tracking things and boosting posts and putting up a poster for the gig and putting up an Instagram post, and obviously trying to do them differently so they're not, you know, different posts for different platforms. And then, geez, well, how are the ticket sales going for blah blah blah? Maybe I should boost that event. Maybe I should put up a post and boost that. And so it's kind of all go, really, like, social media wise, like, you know. And but I suppose you just get so used to it, it becomes your job, you know. If you weren't doing that, you'd be like kind of lost or feeling you're not achieving anything, or, you know, that kind of way. Like, yeah, it's interesting. Do you ever get I always still suffer from this, and even though, like, when I post stuff, it's under that kind of Rob of the Green name. It's not. There's a bit of a detachment from me, because before I put this together, I was very anti-social media. I wouldn't post a lot and just wouldn't feel comfortable sharing a whole lot. But when I'm doing it under the kind of alter ego, it's a bit easier. It's a bit of a separation. But I still find it difficult to say, fuck it, I've posted 5 times today about this week's episode, and I almost like, I don't want to be annoying people, sort of thing, putting it out there too much.
Oh, most definitely. Like, you feel kind of like, if you do something too much, or even if it's not the same post or a different post, like, you feel like, oh, should I do 2 posts today on Instagram, or should I be doing 1 a week, or should I be doing 5 a day, or, you know, you never really hit that sweet spot, because you don't know. It changes, like, it changes so randomly and so fast. You know, on the Facebook page now, I wouldn't do as many posts. Twitter, I suppose, is for that, really, isn't it? Twitter is the
shorter stream of consciousness.
Yeah, shorter, quicker. You can put up 100 posts a day, and most people wouldn't bat an eyelid. Like I never even go through my Twitter feed or whatever. All I do is check notifications, so I don't go through. Like, a lot of people ask me, like, what kind of videos or what other comedians and sketch makers do I watch on Facebook, and I'm like, kind of none of them. I don't really like to do it. I don't even watch myself, never mind anyone else. And you don't want to be kind of
influenced by them either.
Influenced by them, yeah. You know, you don't want that. You don't want to kind of, you know, because you can do it subconsciously, where you say something that someone else has said, and you don't want to do that, or you might come back in a year, I have a great idea, and it's not even your idea. So you don't want to go down that route. You know, you want to keep to what you're doing, and, you know, I'll watch the odd funny clip, like, now and again. Like, there's some great BBC 3 ones and things like that are, I wouldn't copy them because you wouldn't be able, because they're, you know, professionally filmed and all that. And
sure.
Things like that. But
that's interesting. Like, I'd be the same when I started podcasting. I was listening to a lot of other people that I probably would have got some inspiration from, but as soon as I kind of found my own flow, I've stopped listening to nearly anyone in the same area, because I just don't want to be subconsciously taking a question that they might have asked, or adding an inauthentic element to it. And it's funny then, because people ask me what podcast you listen to, and I say that, and they're kind of surprised, but I suppose when you explain it, it makes sense and totally get where you're coming from there.
Yeah, it is definitely that idea. Like, you don't want to kind of, as you were saying, subconsciously kind of end up sounding like someone, or cadence in your voice, you know, or just the manner of your questions, or the way you're interviewing, you know, for you, like. And obviously with me, it's saying something that someone might have already said, because like I've had numerous topics and ideas in my videos copied. Like, I had some that have been blatant rip-offs, like, and you know, it's not nice, so you don't want to end up doing it to anyone else, even accidentally, you know. So
yeah, is there any one you would love to collaborate with, or to kind of work within the kind of world of comedy, and that you might be inspired by?
Well, like, my favourite comedian would be Stuart Lee.
Right.
Which not many people outside of comedy would really have heard of. Like,
okay,
he's very niche, but he's an absolute genius. Like, he's a master of satire. Like, he's just incredible. Like, but obviously his thing would be completely different to mine in a way. Like, but like, if you were to say, I suppose if there was anyone in Ireland I'd love to do something with, it'd be probably the obvious, to get Conor McGregor in the car. You know, for a short half an hour sketch. Yeah. Half a minute, 30-second sketch. That would be the absolute ideal. Like, because obviously people say I look like him, and the early videos were about me supposedly looking like Conor McGregor, and I've done loads about Conor McGregor, and we met him, and you know, I hated that time when we actually met him, because myself and Sinead drove away then, and I was thinking to myself, fuck, we were talking to him for 5 minutes and I didn't even ask, could we do a video? And I know he would have, like, cause he's an absolute gentleman. Yeah. But obviously that's what I'd love to do something with. Like.
But he's obviously very aware of you online, so I'm sure there's probably opportunities again that it might happen.
Yeah, it's just trying to get in contact with someone like that.
Yeah, not
when
easy.
People get so big, you can't even get a contact or email of a person, of the person who knows them. You know, that kind of way. Like, you don't know who to contact. You have to go through agencies, and they're like, yeah, we can organise that $100,000. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, so.
Getting people's time. Have you ever heard of the I don't know when this came up, but it's a satirical, the show called The Day Today, that was out in the middle of the 90s with Chris Morris as the kind of lead of that.
Oh yeah, he did Brass Eye as well.
Yeah.
That was an absolute brilliant show. Like, that was the amount of complaints I got because people couldn't tell the difference, and that is satire, you know. Yeah. It's like when you see a Waterford Whispers article now, and it's like, oh, is this, or like, I like all your other ones, but this is pushing it too far. And it's like, you know, to be very blunt, it's always tick feckers. You know what I mean? Anyone else could look at it and go, I see what you done there. You know what I mean? Straight away, like, but then it wouldn't exist without those too.
Sure.
You know, that's the kind of genius of it. Like.
Oh, it is. It's absolute genius. Just a last couple of ones, which about Sinead. Obviously, she's not on the line tonight. But how much of a compliment to your style is her style, and you know, obviously, maybe just touch on the importance of her role in the overall business, or the whole work you do.
Oh well, obviously, without Sinead, it wouldn't happen. Like, the live shows would definitely not happen, and obviously in the sketches, without her playing the role of the straight man, it's just a mental in the car shouting at himself. You know, so you have to have that duality there, and you have to have her countering my madness. And without her, it wouldn't work. Like, and obviously I'd come up with the main idea, but she'd come up with some cracking, like, one-liners now and again, or cracking, like, punchlines at the end, which, like, I'd never think of, you know. And so I suppose, like, she's 50% of it, you know, without a doubt. Like,
is there stuff that she won't let you do?
No, she'll always hear me out, and I nearly always manage to persuade her. There's been maybe once or twice where we didn't go ahead with it. I forget what they were now. I couldn't actually tell you. It's not like I'm holding back, but there was one or two, as far as I remember, that she kind of won out and said, no, I don't think so. So that was they're very few and far between, though. I usually win, but don't let her know that.
No. I'll edit that part out. No, it's been a fascinating hour, Steve, and thanks again for taking the time to do it. As I said, I hope next time around I'd like to hopefully do it in person or connect when we're in the same town or city or in a venue that is a little bit more.
Absolutely. The next time we're in Galway, give us a buzz.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'll hopefully get down there at some point in the near future. Look, leave it there. Maybe just for folks that haven't ever, because half the listeners that check out this show are in the US, so hopefully there's going to be new people finding out about you and Farmer Michael as a result of listening to this. How can folks find you online and maybe even look for some of your upcoming gigs?
Well, my website's stevotimothy.com, and then obviously everything else, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, is Sir Stevo Timothy. So everything is there, and all the gigs will be there and events anyway, and all the videos are there, so if they want to check them out, and please don't judge me, I'm a nice person, just getting that out there quick in case people start shouting. So yeah, basically that's everything, I suppose.
That's great, and I'm sure they'll have figured that out after the last hour or so, because it's probably just that side that people haven't seen before. Well, just last one about the US. Have you ever thought about going over there, doing any gigs? Do you get much of a following over there yet?
We've been asked a few times. We've been asked to go to Australia, Dubai.
Wow.
Oh, it's endless places, but I have to get myself in a bit better frame of mind for flight. As a person that's anxious and a control freak, being in a plane is not conducive to that. So, but hopefully we'll get there. We want to do, obviously, the kind of New England area. We want to like Boston and, we'd have to visit New York as well, So, and my uncles are always telling me that like random people they work with come up, do you ever hear of this Irish guy? And like my uncle's there, yeah, he's my nephew. So native New Yorkers and things, they're watching them too, which is kind of gas.
Yeah, I could see it going down very well over there. I've been to Boston with work an awful lot, and obviously with the Irish connections over there in New York as well, it would be interesting. Just one thing that came to me there, as you said about the flights, we talked about the idea of handing over, or when you don't have a choice, you kind of don't have to worry about it. I suppose in those sort of scenarios, when you're on a plane, there's probably less choice there. I don't know if there's angles that you could come at it. I don't know, maybe get just a private jet, maybe something like that.
Yeah, that'd be the only option, wouldn't it? Or get myself completely and utterly langered, as you'd say in Cork, and fall asleep. But I don't drink, so
yeah.
I don't drink anyway, so no, that's another thing that's not great for anxiety and depression, that a lot of people in Ireland just don't heed at all.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I agree. I'm 19 months or so without an alcoholic beverage at this point, because got to a point where I said the downsides were more than the ups, and gave it up. I hear you there. It definitely helps with the dark side and the negative mood. And
definitely, most definitely. The vicious circle.
Absolutely. That's a talk for another day. I'll leave it there, Stevo. Look, thanks again, man, and I look forward to sharing this, and can't wait to hear feedback and reaction from this great conversation. Thank you a lot.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it a lot, man.
Have a good one.
You too.
Cheers, man. So this is the outro of the podcast, guys. You got to the end, and that is great. Please hang in here for another couple of minutes. I know most people won't, but maybe there's something here of interest, so check this out. First off, thanks so much for listening to this one, as well as maybe the 100 or so that's gone before it. Why not check them out if you haven't already? There's lots of good stuff in there. The whole podcasting journey for me has been a huge learning, and I'm trying to help you guys learn and improve as well. So much has changed over the last few years since I started it. I've really realised lots of the goals that I put out there, and then realised so many unexpected benefits as well. And I think anytime you take on action towards a goal, you're going to pick up lots of things that you didn't expect along the way, and hopefully they're good things. In this particular episode, was there any one or two things that jumped out? Maybe you could take a pen and paper out right now, because this is something that you might think of during the episode but never do. Do it now. Take it out. Write down a goal that you're going to set yourself as a result of something you learned from this episode. put a plan in place and then work towards it, applying yourself deliberately over time, take ownership, build a habit, improve, get 1% better, share accountability with somebody you know in a buddy system, and learn and grow and improve. That's what it's all about. That's my hopefully inspirational piece done. Other areas to note: check out the website robofthegreen.ie. You can consume everything there for free. There is obviously the podcast, there's video, 1 Minute Monday clips, there's articles, not enough, but I'd like to put more there. If you're interested in putting one there, let me know. And there's a Get Better app page, which I'm starting to add new content to over time. There's a feedback page if you want to email me, rob@robofthegreen.ie instead. But it's all about trying to engage you and get you to a place of improvement. So I'm open to feedback. As I said, ways you can help me is by following me on the socials. @robofthegreen.ie is the website, or @robofthegreen on all the social platforms. Subscribe to the podcast on any of the apps that you might listen to it on. Talk about it. Tell a friend about it, tell your family members about it, share some of the ideas, not only to your friends but to me. Is there anything I can improve upon? Sign up to the newsletter, that's there as well. I'm experimenting again with a group called Slack, Rob of the Green on Slack. This is really for a shared accountability environment and sharing ideas. You can sign up to that on the website as well. All of this is obviously all free, but there is also an option where you could subscribe to my Patreon site and make a small donation for the content that we do. It's there. It's totally up to you. Everything that is coming in through that or could come in through that will go into making the podcast better. So, to close, I am always trying to improve and get better. Change is difficult, I know that, but it's all about taking the first step, learning something, applying yourself, moving forward. You can do this. I've been able to improve, pushing myself outside the comfort zone, learning, and I think if I can do it, so can you. Don't overreach, don't set yourself unrealistic goals. 1% at a time is enough, but it's all about starting, and that will bring you on your pursuit of betterness to a great place. Thanks for sticking to the very end. Talk to you next time and take care. Good luck.